praises to the Most High Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, double honors to the elders and apostles of Israel who were well. Shalom to the elect. It's just gonna be a quick hit, and we already know why we go through what we go through, but I just wanted to make a few points on that. This is Exodus 24:7, and he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people, and they said, all that the Lord hath said will we do and be obedient. So Israel made a vow to the Lord, right? And even when Yahweh Shai died, they said, let his blood be on us and our descendants. So as people, we're constantly making vows to the Lord, and we're constantly breaking them. So it's no it's no coincidence that we go through the things that we go through. We pretty much have asked for this. This is Deuteronomy 23:21. When thou shalt vow a vow unto the Lord thy power, thou shalt not slack to pay it, for the Lord thy power will surely require it of thee, and it will be sin in thee. So we've made a vow to the Lord that we're gonna follow the Lord and keep his commandments. And as a people we've not done that. That's why, we're in the state that we're in. And we keep sinning, we make promises to the Lord and we keep breaking those promises, and we're as a people we're just gonna keep getting jacked up until we return to the Lord. This is Hebrews 12:6. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth, if that's the correct pronunciation, every son whom he receiveth. When you go into that word scourgeth, it is an archaic word. It means to whip, lash severely. It means to punish, to chastise, or afflict severely, even with physical violence. And Jake has been on the receiving end of all kinds of manner of violence, but ultimately it doesn't seem like it. But we go through this because the Lord loves us, and we basically gone off the deep end in how we're supposed to be as a people. When you meet the average Jake and you talk to the average Jake, we're completely we're bugged out, man. We don't want to keep the Lord, the food that we eat, you know, um, how we behave, how we treat each other. You got these YNs running around and doing this. I mean, even Esau's talking about black fatigue, which is a bit rich on his part because, I think everyone at this moment, Edomite fatigue is coming in, white fatigue, where people are getting tired of Esau. But, we can talk about Esau as much as we like, but really, our problem starts at home. Our problem starts with ourselves and keeping our vows that we made to the Lord. And it could be a small thing, it could be a big thing, but even walking into the truth, we pretty much, from when we decide to go out there, from when we decide to put on, our earpods and preach, the gospel, we've made a vow to the Lord. And if we don't keep those vows, the Lord is gonna jack us up, which is why you see a lot of brothers returning to the world, and it's like the dog returning to his vomit. He ends up worse than he was in the beginning. You get them several demons on you. So when you make a vow to the Lord, even when you like, because you don't necessarily have to say to the Lord, I make a vow, but more time you do that when you're in the truth. You have to keep that vow. Otherwise, the Lord is gonna jack you up, man. This is Proverbs 13:24. He that spareth his rod hateth his son, but he that loveth him chasteneth him b times. I think b times is a synonym for all time. But let's check the definition of that, because I don't want to be butchering meanings. B times, chast sometimes, on occasion, before the usual expected time, early. So that's the context of that. You know. So yeah, that's pretty. I just wanted to be a quick hit for the brothers, who are in this, because even we go out every Saturday, right? But even sometimes when I talk to the brothers, they're like, you're supposed to do more videos. You should do this and you should do that, and that's really my conscience condemning myself, because I've made a vow to the Lord that I'm supposed to do the work and I'm supposed to do certain things, and we have to really be mindful of how we're walking, because everything starts with us first. You know, they say charity starts at home. So before, you know, you can even correct somebody, you first have to correct yourself. And if you do make a vow to the Lord, as most of us have, you know, when we come back to the truth, we've actually made a vow to the Lord, regardless of whether or not we've acknowledged it or not. We have to make sure that we keep that vow, because if we actually fall out and we don't actually keep that vow, the Lord is gonna want His pound of flesh, man. So this is just a warning, you know, to brothers, you know, myself first and foremost, that once you start that walk, you know, you have to keep walking down that path, you know, because if you actually fall off, everyone's gonna mock you. You know, it's like saying you want to be an engineer and then you go to college for a year and then you don't go anymore. The people are gonna look at you and say, well, then why did you waste your year in college? Why did you pay for the course? You know, you might as well not bothered in the first place. And it's the same thing with the walk, man. You know, once you go down this path, you have to. This is a lifelong walk. This is a daily walk. You know, we're gonna have things coming, responsibilities are gonna try and take us away from the word, but we have to battle those demons, man, because they're pretty much demons trying to take you away from what you're supposed to do. You know, regardless of whatever we're going through. I mean, you can even look at the story of Job. You know, he lost everything, but the Lord gave him back tenfold. So hopefully, you know, that will help brothers, you know. And I first and foremost have to start with myself. But Lord willing, this little video was edifying. All praises to the Most High Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders in Israel who were well. Shalom to the elect.